what, besides God, who's the other closest person, you know, for anyone alive? Mother.
Yeah.
If there is discord with your mother, if your mother doesn't treat you a certain way, because that's the first God you know, either we like it or not, it's your mother who introduces you to God. For most of us, it's her who tells you, let's go to church. There is something bigger than me. But for the longest time, the first relationship every one of us has had is with our mothers. So I think even the reason some of us are very angry with our mothers is because just because you had a mother does not mean you were mothered. A decision that is made from a place of conviction is done very well because it's done from a place of love.
Yes.
I am not cutting you off because I don't love you, or to teach you a lesson, or to, so that I can sit down and say, unajua huyo ilibidi nikam cut off. Hata siongeangi naye, no. It's coming from a place of love. And when what you do is coming from a place of love, it's done very differently from when it's coming from a place of ego. Cutting people off is just choosing not to be available for them.
Stop broadcasting.
Hata wachana na stop broadcast. First of all, why do you feel the need of telling every other person that you cut someone else off?
Ego.
Start seeing the people in your life for who they are and accepting them for who they are. You will be very surprised by how you will get to actually see other parts of them that you didn't even know existed. Because you have forgotten about the delusion you have.
Yeah.
And now you're dealing with huyu mtu niko na yeye ndi huyu. And now you're able to ask yourself, because I am dealing with this person, how do I want to deal with them?
A very good morning to you and a warm welcome to today's episode of LNS Rebuilding Restoration Series. My name is Lynn Ngugi and I am so happy to get to have today's conversation with someone I've sat on this show with before. I love Morrine. There's just a lot of authenticity in her, and one of the things she's definitely going to do is make you feel at home. And I know she's a profession. And I know she knows, by the way, anaweza kupima kuangalia one Lynn ako sawa ama yuko sawa. But one thing she always does, she always makes you feel free. She always makes you want to be in her presence. And I honestly can't wait for her to be able to walk us through today's conversation, because the other day I hosted someone and she said something very important, and I will run it on the show with Morrine just to see what she says. But today's conversation, I know it's personal for a lot of people, because we talk about forgiveness, but what really is it? And when is the right time to forgive? And do we really have to forgive? When is the right time to let some of our family members go? And when is the right time to cut off people? When is the right time to sit and say, you know what, I've tried, and what's the best way to go about it? And I just knew Morrine will definitely be the right person to walk us through this conversation. So, as I said, I know forgiveness is big. It's big for so many of us. But I hope by the end of today's conversation, you are able to pick something and you are able to learn, and we are able to know how to do it better. I'm about to let her reintroduce herself, and just remind us what she does. But before that, I really want to say thank you to you guys. I was just telling her, I keep looking at our channel and I'm like, oh my God, we are almost at 1 million subscribers. And I was telling her, you know what, it's been a journey. It's been a journey, but I'm glad to have been part of it. And I just want to thank you guys for being active participants of our work. Tumetembea hii safari pamoja, and now to see us almost approaching 1 million subscribers really fills my heart. So if you're also watching this and you've not subscribed, please subscribe, because it goes a long way into making sure that our work gets to be watched by so many people. And also to say thank you to all the guests that we've had on this platform, and my incredible team who always gets to put this work together and make sure that we continue impacting you guys one story at a time. I really do appreciate. And now, of course, without further ado, please allow me to let my guest today reintroduce herself on our platform so that she can be able to walk us through today's conversation. Mama, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Hapo unajua watu, we call you Sunshine. We say, can I call you Rose? Can we call you Morrine? How are you feeling?
I'm good.
Yay.
Glad to be here. Thank you for the invite.
Yes.
Nilisikia mtu akirudi.
Yeah.
Lazima uko ulikuwa na make sense.
Yes, you did. You did. We really loved having you last time. And as I said, one thing I love about you, even as Lynn Ngugi, not just as this show, is you really make me feel very safe. So I always look forward to having a conversation with you.
Thank you.
Yes. So Wambie Gina, those who are tuning in for the first time, and what you do.
My name is Morrine Miney. Wamuhu. I am a life coach and empowerment specialist. I work with individuals and with groups just to make sure you know how to navigate life.
And life we are navigating.
One
story at a time.
Yes.
I know, as I said, today's conversation is really personal for so many people. Because we talk about forgiveness. In your own terms, what really is forgiveness? And why should we forgive? And must we forgive, by the way?
So what really is forgiveness? I would say, yes, we know all the definition, but the definition that I love and I keep repeating is forgiveness is letting go of the hope that things would have turned out differently. Just letting go, putting that aside. Just wachana tunayo. It's let go of the hope that things would have turned out differently. Just let go. Must we forgive? Yes. Should we forgive? Yes. And not necessarily because of anybody else, but because of yourself. So if I'm carrying the entire, I hope Lynn had done something different. I hope whoever had done something different. I am angry because you didn't show up for me the way I wanted you to show up for me constantly. It means then I'm not able to live my life, because chances are you did the best you could. Chances are you did the best you could with the information and understanding you had at the time. So if I hold you hostage, or if I hold myself hostage to my anger, my disappointment, who hurts?
Me.
Whose life is on hold?
Mine.
Exactly. That's why we must. It's a must. Yeah.
But how do we deal with manipulators though? Because there are people who will hurt you knowingly. So for me, I'm looking at it, there's no hope something would have been different here. You knew what you are doing. So you definitely knew you were hurting me. So why should I forgive you, yet you knew what you are doing?
So Lynn,
yes,
you are not forgiving them for what they did. You're freeing yourself from even expecting them to have done different. Did you see the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, mic drop. You're forgiving them.
You're forgiving for even wanting them to do different, for expecting them to be different, to do different. That's what you're actually forgiving. Because if we dwell on, Lynn, I knew you. Lynn, I knew you knew what you were doing. You manipulated me, you did this. You had a motive even before I came into the space, and I am holding that against you.
Yeah.
And I'm carrying that with me. I can actually just accept, and Lynn is a manipulator. And I have learned my lesson, probably will never want to work with them again.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
I think we complicate things because we are constantly wanting the why. Explain to me, make me understand. What if someone actually literally tells you, because I could?
Oh.
Why did you cheat me out of my own money? Because I could. You had no boundaries. You were easily gullible. Because I could. So what do you do with that information? Hajakupatia reason.
But wamekupea stopper because I could.
I could. So now if you hold that against them for the rest of your life, you hold yourself to them for the rest of your life because you want to use them as a reference. So let's look at it in this sense that I can say, I have learned that probably I need to do due diligence now to be able to do 1, 2, 3. So you're looking at it from a place of, have I learned? What did I learn from this experience? The problem is we want to carry the story, and we want to look at the story and let it help us navigate where we are going instead of looking at the story with the mind of, so what did I learn? So that I'm taking the lessons to move forward.
Morrine, is there joy in carrying the story? Because as long as I can carry the story, it wasn't my fault that you hurt me. As long as I can carry the story, I'm a victim.
Yeah. And we don't like to admit this, but being a victim exempts you from taking responsibility and doing something about the situation. So that's why it's always about them and what they did.
It's never about you.
It's never about you. And if you can't take responsibility and ownership of something, it means you can't change it.
When I reached out, I said, please teach us how to forgive. And I want to tackle first mother and daughter's relationships, because people who wrong us are different. There's family, there are friends, we have lovers, we have strangers, we have random people. But let's first start by touching on daughters and mothers. And I remember asking you, why is it that when I grow up, I'll hold so much anger towards my mom as compared to my dad? Is it a thing? Because when I was doing my research, daughters tend to hold a lot of anger towards their mothers. And then, whether you like it or not, you end up, at some point, you end up becoming your mother.
What, besides God, who's the other closest person, you know, for anyone alive? Mother.
Yeah.
If there is discord with your mother, if your mother doesn't treat you a certain way, because that's the first God you know, either we like it or not, it's your mother who introduces you to God. For most of us, it's her who tells you, let's go to church. There is something bigger than me. But for the longest time, the first relationship every one of us has had is with our mothers. So the relationship we have with our mothers, I know we like to look at it from the time I was born and all of that. But do you know your relationship with your mom started when she was pregnant with you? It started there, and there's a story there. So tell me, and just give me your thoughts. I get pregnant today and I'm excited about the pregnancy. It's something I've been planning for.
Yeah.
I am happy about it. I've been wanting to actually get pregnant, so I've been praying for it, all of that. And I get pregnant. Even how I handle that pregnancy, it's with gladness and joy and tenderness. Imagine I am a teenager and I get pregnant, or I was getting pregnant hoping that I will hook up this dude, and all of a sudden this guy doesn't want to be a part of my life. In fact, once they learn you're pregnant, they're probably like, uko sure? Uko sure ni yangu? Do those two women carry pregnancy the same?
No, they don't.
Do you think their motherhood experience will be the same?
No, it won't be.
So I think even the reason some some of us are very angry with our mothers is because just because you had a mother does not mean you are mothered.
Wow.
Yeah. Just because you had your parents does not mean you are parented. And as a soul level, we know who a mother is. That's why you will see a young girl and she's around and she's doing her things and everybody goes like, she'll be a very good mother, this one. And they will look at another one and go like, this one just needs to work at the office. We all know the archetype of a mother she's nurturing. And nurturing comes with a lot of other things. It's guidance. It's being able to hold you. It's being able to reassure you. It's being able to see you, hear you, understand you, because that's what actually we ask for as people. What are you looking for? If any person under the face of the earth, when we are talking about love, is that we want to be seen, we want to be heard, and we want to be understood for who we are. Simple and clear. When that doesn't happen at home, when a mother is caught in between, guiding you and nurturing you, and just making sure that you don't end up like every other girl in your village, depending on how they ended up with, but they don't have the language to communicate that. Because remember, your mother equally has her own world, her own perception, what she has gone through. But because remember, mother is next to God. Anybody you ask, how come the mother wound? Like, people can be abandoned by their father and they will figure out a way to stand on their feet. But if mothers do some of the things fathers do, we don't even know how to forgive. Because literally, they are our life givers. So the problem is, and the challenge at times is to be able to see them as human beings and as women who are equally flawed and who've had their own experiences, that they don't come to the table as a clean slate. They come as human beings. So I'll give you a story. My mother, my grandmother, passed on when my mother was 14 years old. So her being mothered, depending on the type of mother my grandmother was, ended when she was 16. Actually, not 16, 14. Up to that point, by the time you're 14, you haven't even gotten to figure out a few things. You still need your mother in your life. The same year, her mother died. Her maternal grandmother died, who lived with them. And that was that. Who then mothered this girl? So that she gets to know how to mother. My father's father died, I think, by the time my dad was about 6, 7. So who taught my father how to father? Who did he see father? Because you learn by seeing. When these two people come together, one is still a little girl whose journey of being mothered ends at 14. Yeah. This is a man who his journey of being fathered and probably didn't get mentors ended at what age? 6, 7.
6, 7.
It takes intentional work to figure out now how to have a child and parent. I see a lot of times someone will tell me, and I'll get into this conversation where someone will say something like, I'm waiting to get my finances right. I have a child. And I'm like, finances hata wachana nazo kwanza. You need to get you right.
Oh.
Because everything that you have that is unresolved will show up in the relationship that you have with your children. The problem is we don't realize that's the truth about our parents, that they come to the table with baggage, that they have also, they have been parented and they're carrying patterns and pathologies as well. They have broken some and they have passed some. Just the same way I have broken many, but I am pretty sure I have passed some.
Yeah.
Right? So the mother-daughter relationship is difficult because I am looking at you and I have to raise you and I haven't raised me. I don't know, you as a daughter, you're looking at me to tell you who you are, and I don't know, baby girl, who I am.
How can I tell you what I don't know?
Yes, you're looking for kindness and acceptance and support from me, and I do not know it. I never had it, so I don't have it. I have nothing to give to you, and I haven't done the work to be able to give to you, because it doesn't mean because you didn't have, you can't get. It just means you have to do the work. But if we are talking about the cluster of women who have raised us, they were raised by our grandmothers who had multiple children. How was one woman able to take care of 10 kids, go to the farm, and be attended? These people were angry all the time. If we were just being honest, they were angry all the time, and because they were tired.
And shouting.
And shout because they were frustrated. Si uniambie tu pole pole.
Yani uko kwa 4th floor. Mtoto anacheza huko lakini the way this person will. Yeah. They were so angry.
They were so angry, they were so tired. They were so frustrated. And if we are just being honest, if you were to look at yourself and think about how graceful you are when you're tired, when you're hungry, when you're frustrated, when you've worked the whole day and you still don't know how you're going to feed these kids, please tell me how kind you are. It doesn't mean their behavior is justified. It's just to say we can extend grace to see them. So there's this principle. Can you be able, because we get to an age and we're adults, can I now be able to differentiate my mother and now see her, just turn a lens and see her as a woman? It's important for you to know the story, your mother's story. Go back in line, be curious who this person is, because then as we see our mothers just as our mothers. We don't even know if they had dreams that were shattered. We don't know anything about them. And in my own journey, I had to go back and just ask questions. So who was my grandmother? And how was my grandmother to my mother? And I realized my mother has done so much better. She has done so much better. If anything, I should just actually go like, you've done well compared to what you received. You've given a little bit more. So we don't know the stories of the people we call our mothers and our fathers. We don't know where their pain is. Yes, it's not the responsibility of the child to go back and figure it all out. But now as an adult, because even when we are talking about, I'm breaking generational curses, you can't break what you don't know. You can't break what you don't know, and you're not going to look for it for justification. Look for it for understanding. So at some point I had to ask my mom and her sisters, tell me the story about your grandmother. And they were like, we don't know. We don't know anything about our grandmother. Especially their maternal grandmother, but they knew a lot about their paternal grandmother. And I'm like, okay. Can you go ask my grandfather about his mother-in-law? And my grandfather is like, I don't know. My wife never spoke of the mother. If a daughter doesn't speak of the mother, that tells you a lot as well. No?
So I'm identifying 3 stages here, right? There's number 1. You are idolizing your parent because we've been in that stage. I love my mom. My mom is the best, right? Then stage number 2, you start demonizing your parents when you realize maybe they've caused you hurt, harm, or when you say, my mother inflicted trauma on me. You don't come from an understanding point. You start demonizing. So number 1, you idolize, you demonize, and then you get to understand.
Yeah. And it's a whole journey. And even the question that we were asking, it would go back to, then why should I forgive? And you see, you still have to deal with the trauma. It's only that it makes it a little bit easier when you're looking at it and you're able to understand what has been going on. It's like looking at a map. You're just looking at a map. Like, so this is how we got here. You see the way the country, we are saying this is a systemic problem.
Yes.
Just know that drama you see in your family is systemic. It's systemic. So it's just like putting a map and just getting to see, so how did we get here? So, it started there. So it came to here, and it came to here, and it came to here. And probably something happened here. As we get older, parents are willing, there are parents who are willing to have conversation.
Yeah.
But the thing is, because we idolize our parents, we also judge them because they are not measuring up to the standard that we have in our heads. That's what I was saying. Have a very realistic and an honest, say the truth about what the relationship you have with your parents, because the disconnect at times comes here. I see people, you'll see on social media, someone has said, oh my God, you're the best parent I have ever had. You're everything anybody could ever ask for. When you call them aside, the story is very different, which means there's a disconnect within you and your truth. But can I be able to say the whole truth? That I love my parents, yes, but there's probably this thing they have done that I can't seem to get over. But just getting to see who they are. So let's work with this. 1, every person is doing the best they can. Even us, seated here, we're doing the best we can. Right? You believing that the parent you see, they are good, they have loved you, they've taken care of you, that they did the best they could with what they had at the time. It's okay to say they have done the best they could, but their best was not, I probably needed some more. But you cannot, it's not fair, and it's actually very unkind to ask someone to give you something they don't have. I want to come, get something you do not have. That's unfair. I'm putting you in a situation where I'm setting you up to break my heart and for me to blame you still.
You've started.
Yeah.
I'm setting you up to break my heart.
Yeah.
And then I still get the audacity to blame you for breaking my heart.
Yeah.
But I set you up to break my heart.
Yeah. Lynn, if I know for sure you do not have the capacity to show up for me the way I would want you to show up for me, and I still keep putting you in this place where I want you to show up in that way, but I actually know for sure you do not know how to show up for me in that way. Who is setting who up and who is letting who down? We know the truth about our parents because I do not believe there's anybody alive who knows me better than my son. So we know our parents. We are the people who knew who you. If she comes and she's looking a certain way, today is not the day to ask for that book.
Yes.
We knew.
If she comes like this and she sits Mama utakunywa chai. We know
our parents.
Then if she comes smiling, Mama utatubaiya nyawa.
Hey,
Yes.
We know the capacity our parents have. But the problem is there's a disconnect because there's a part of us that wants to relate the child in us. You remember this Kamim that keeps saying it's difficult to heal because the adult wants this, the teenage wants this, the child wants this, and the teenage wants to set everything on fire.
Yes.
So it's getting to understand that there's a part of you that really, really can see your parents, and that's what you're reconciling within yourself. So as an adult, when you're talking and dealing with your parent, it's no longer about your parents, but about you and how you can honor them and how you can have now a healthier relationship with them, which means you now have to take charge of that relationship. You're no longer a child. It's making peace with the fact that what you didn't get as a child, you didn't get.
Period.
You didn't get. So how can you be able to find support as an adult for yourself from other sources? Kwa sababu, again, we cannot go to ask people who do not have to give us.
Yes.
And even if, and at times, one of the things that I've come to see and to love is when people are able now to see their parents very differently. Like when your mother is holding your child and they're telling your child, I love you so much. And you're wondering, kumbe hizo words zotoka kwa mdomo, you have had them all this time. You knew.
Boy, have you noticed? Like, kila kid our parents or something else. That day I watched my mom. I don't know what she was doing with my nephew. I just looked at her and I'm like, Aya, this exists in you. Sijui kuchoka hapa tati. Aya, wait a minute. You know, you know, it's okay. You know, our parents have, sorry guys, our parents have this behavior of being very good with their grandkids. And then you are just there, you are looking at them like, Kwani, where were you when I was growing up?
But because they were equally growing up.
Yes.
They were equally growing up. And that's why we keep saying, even they are not two children with the same parent. Because let's say you had a child at 20, then you had another one at 26 or even at 22. You have already learned kidogo, you've grown a bit, you've grown a bit, you've grown a bit. So you have found our children are finding our mothers more evolved than we did. More vulnerable and willing to be vulnerable and more relaxed, I think. I think kwanza papa relaxed sana. More relaxed than us guys did. So we are getting to see their softness. My question is, are we willing to allow ourselves to allow the other processes of life that come through to heal us? That when you're loving your children, the ones that you will have, instead of living from a place of saying, I will not treat them the way I was treated, blah, 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 or you get jealous or angry when you're wondering, so you can be kind to other children and you can't be kind to me. Is it possible to actually also honor the growth of the parent that you're seeing and witnessing? You know the way you see your friend who, when we were coming, we discussed how we did promotion jobs.
Yes.
And I said, yes, I did promotion jobs na nikashiko hadi na kanjo. And now I'm doing something completely different. The way you're able to say, oh my God, when ndio ulikuwa umeshikwa na kanjo?
Yes.
Ile time. And now this is you, seated with Lynn.
Amen.
You get,
yes.
And celebrate that growth, right? Are we able to see our parents and also realize we are the biggest witnesses as much as they were ours? So let me move it a bit differently. Every child comes with, and this is where our anger and where probably so many of those other things come in. We have emotional needs. I know we are taught a lot about physical needs. But as people, we have emotional needs, and as children, all our emotional needs are met by our parents. And there is no single parent who's able to meet all our emotional needs, which is understanding, acceptance, respect, trust, care. They will meet some, they will not meet others. And you do not know what the mind of a child interprets anything. So maybe all my son wants is for me to cuddle them. But I know if I don't cook right now, do laundry, tomorrow might be a very hectic day for all of us. So of course, this child who just wanted affection for this moment might have interpreted me going to do this other thing as something completely different. So just understanding we have emotional needs. And they are basic emotional needs which end up being wounds as when we are adults. So now we are looking for attention in all the places, in the worst of ways. We are looking for admiration, we are looking for understanding, fulfillment. And which we can equally just sum it up to, all we want is to be seen, heard, and accepted fully for just who you are. And that's what we are angry about. That maybe there's a day I wanted you to show up in school and you didn't show up. And I didn't get to understand why. And you made it about yourself. You didn't make, because our mind makes up things. I will interpret your action the way I know how to. So I have probably interpreted the action as, so she didn't come to school, that means she doesn't love me. Which means, so remember that's the thought. She doesn't love me, so you start to feel unlovable. And if it happens a couple of times, you start to believe, and you believe you're unlovable. And over time, you start to behave as if you're unlovable. So what happens when you're talking about forgiveness is that when you're letting go of the hope and expectation it would have been different, you're also forgiving yourself for what you made up and what you have subjected yourself to.
You're forgiving yourself.
You're forgiving yourself. So even the greatest work, I don't think normally is to forgive our parents, but to forgive ourselves for everything that we have made up in our heads about their actions.
I love that. Regardless of the root, forgive yourself.
Forgive yourself, because we have really subjected ourselves to a lot. There are some of us who are working really hard just to prove we are something because someone said something and it's killing us. And I loved the conversation you had with Carol, the health coach, because I think it just laid the foundation for this, that the wounds that we carry and we refuse to heal them, the pain that we are not willing to acknowledge, ends up being physical illness. It manifests as physical illness. Because the body doesn't lie. And it's the body that holds all of that. It holds our joy, it holds our pain.
Yeah.
So all of these things tend eventually to end up being physical illnesses. I had a client, so I asked her permission to share this part of the segment. So when she came in, she was very angry. And she said her mother had left them, like she didn't just understand how her mom had left them, but she was seeing very many similarities now as an adult, what you were saying, in terms of you don't like them, but you're ending up to be like them. And she said, you know, I hate that I feel like I'm becoming my mother. And I told her first, so what don't you like? And she stated what she doesn't like. And I said, because I know we dwell a lot on what we don't like. What do you like about your mom? What are you very proud of about your mom as well? We are not negating this. And she said, you know, I get my hustle from my mother. You know, I get my hustle from my mother.
Yeah.
Then I told her, okay, so what are these things that you don't like about your mom? Or rather, that you're seeing the patterns being repeated in your own life. And when she said them, I told her, right now you're working really hard and you're out of the country for your children, right? Yes. Is there malice in your decision? Or are you just a mother providing for their child? Is there malice in your decision? She said no. So probably she was just providing for her kids the best way she knew how. The best way she knew how, because you are also doing the best way you know how
for your kids.
When you're ready to do the work is, it's not easy, because healing is not easy. And yesterday I just found myself saying, listen, healing is a rough road. By the time you get into the tarmac, it's first a rough road. Because the process of getting to see how you have participated in your own pain, in your own suffering, not pain, can be very chaotic. But this is what I love about her. What she did is that she called her mom before the next session we had. And she said, I realized everything she had done for us. And it's true, she made her own mistakes and all, but she had also done really well. And she was saying, for the very first time, my mom and I said we love each other. She told me she loved me. And I never thought my mother loved me. So, and the times that we keep, so, okay, there's this one time I was very angry. And I actually felt all I wanted to do was be loved, like unconditionally. And the Holy Spirit convicted me a bit, which was a lot. And it was, if you then want them to, why don't you love them the way you'd want to be loved? Fully and completely. Loving someone doesn't necessarily mean participating in what they're doing, but it means me seeing you for who you truly are, seeing you, hearing you, and accepting you for who you are. Yeah. Where I can say, Lynn is 1, 2, 3. It does not mean I have to engage you in a certain way. It just means I can accept you. That is, don't ask someone to give you what they don't have. Pain is necessary for life. Yeah. Pain happens all the time. But suffering is a choice. We don't have control over the cards life dials us. But suffering
is a choice.
Because you can't be 40 and you're 50 and you're 35 and you're still saying, you know, my dad did, my mom did.
Respectfully.
You can't. At some point you have to say, what am I willing to do now for the next generation, so that first of all, they don't start saying, mom did, dad did, uncle or auntie did. So how do you start to forgive?
Yeah.
Say the truth. Tell the truth about who your parents are. Tell the truth about the fact that you probably don't feel safe at home. Yeah. Which means you go there and you start getting agitated, but it's because you actually don't feel safe. So how can you now navigate this relationship in a way that you feel safe? Can I hang out with my parents for 2 days and that's okay? Because if it's a week, it's going to be different. Chaotic. Can I now be the adult that I am? Can I stop complaining that my parents keep asking, keep doing? Can I start putting boundaries? Yeah. Can I start putting boundaries where I'll say, I know you'd want, let's come up with a budget. I'll be giving you X amount of money every month. And that's what I can afford. Anything in between is not possible. I know you'd want me to do this, but this is not going to be possible. I can't be able to. And people, setting boundaries is not easy, it's not sweet, it's not comfortable. It's the most uncomfortable thing you will ever do in your life, because it's an unlearning and a new learning of something completely different. You're learning something different. And even our brain doesn't like different.
It's wired.
It's wired not to want change.
Good.
So it's like you're just moving, you're just going against the grain, and it's difficult. And at some point, people are just like, did you get money? What happened? What happened to you? So first of all, it comes out as pride. But you know it's not pride. You know these are systems that need to be set up.
And it's uncomfortable.
Boundaries are very uncomfortable. That I've always said yes to you, and now I have to start even me learning how to say no and watch you react to me say no.
Yep.
Have to watch you react to me say no and not feel guilty about it. Even with friends, forget about even family members. Even with friends, it's difficult. It's very, very difficult and very uncomfortable, but it has to be done.
Yeah, that you want us to hang out, but I can't.
I can't hang out. And they're like, Kwani, what has changed in your life?
Nothing.
Kwani, you got a new man?
No.
Umekaliwa?
No.
You're allowed a man to come into your life and kalia you?
Yes. You're allowed.
To come into your life and to come into your life and
kalia you. I wanted to use that
you?
word, but I didn't behave. You know, you're allowed. Oh my God.
You're allowing a man to have
between us. No, I just want to sit home and watch 24.
Exactly. And so, and that relationship and taking the risk of knowing that probably that friendship, because you refuse to go out, might actually
be the same again.
That the boundaries might change completely.
What's the best way to communicate our boundaries? Because yes, I've set boundaries. You don't know I've set boundaries, but I need to be kind in explaining also to you that these are my boundaries. Because sometimes, you know, it's a very thin line between boundaries also being selfish. And I know they are meant to be selfish, but I also have to put the other person's feelings. Like I have to consider. Just because I've set boundaries does not mean I tell you, I can't come. No, we can't meet up. How do you make your loved ones understand?
Give me a scenario.
Say you are my friend.
Yes.
We are used to hanging out. I don't want to hang out anymore. I don't feel like hanging out anymore. You know, I think there's an age in life you just want to be home. By the way, you just want to wake up, eat, do what you gotta do. Like you just want solitude, serenity. But we are used to catching coffee or just doing some few things here and there. How do I communicate? How now do I communicate to you, Morrine? I'm sorry, I can't. Because I just want to stay home in a kind way so that boundaries also don't come out as rude or don't care or I don't give like.
Ask me to hang out with you. I want to make it as practical as possible.
No, you're the one who's supposed to ask me to hang out with you because me, I don't want to hang out anymore. But you want to hang out.
But you're the one who's I'm supposed to respond to. I'm supposed to.
No, you're asking me to hang out.
Can
me,
we
I've
hang
put
out?
my. No, I don't want to.
Okay.
Eh?
It's because we also have relationships with people who do not know how to respect other people's boundaries.
A no is a no.
Skiza. And that's why I wanted you to ask me.
Yes.
If we can hang out. Because this is the thing, Lynn.
Okay, can we hang out?
When would you like us to hang out?
Maybe Tuesday?
Tuesday is a long day. I don't, like, nowadays I feel very called to stay inside.
Yes.
So I'm not hanging. I don't feel like I want to hang out outside as much. But can we reschedule?
Even that rescheduling, I don't want. Me, I don't want to hang out
Sas,
anymore.
you say that. I don't want to hang out.
I don't want to see, no, it comes out as rude.
No,
I don't want
it's
to hang
not
out
even-
anymore.
No, don't put the anymore. Just say I don't want to hang. Like, I don't feel, I don't want to hang out.
Do you think that friendship will ever be the same?
Huyu hajaini acha.
And you tell her no.
See, I do. Yeah. If I don't want to do something, I don't want to do something.
No, but you see,
in this sense, but be kind. In this sense, in
Yeah.
the respectful way, in this, people are your friends. If
Yeah.
I'm your friend, you will get to acknowledge that you know me, number one.
Yeah.
Number two, probably I'm just changing. And the thing about change is that you might actually lose friends that you had.
Which
because
is
your
true.
whole thing has changed.
Yeah.
But the whole essence of telling someone, and because I'm thinking coffee really sounds nice.
Yeah.
Coffee really sounds nice, but probably it's just that person that you don't want to meet with, and
Or you don't want to be outside.
and then it's okay to say that I honestly don't want to be outside.
But you can come home.
But you
we
can
have
come
coffee
home.
when you come home.
If someone can understand that, then that's your friend. Because what's the essence of friendship?
If
Sasa
they
you-
can't understand
you
that.
know my rules with friendships.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if we can't have a
I'm just
conversation,
saying because I know there are people out there who might not.
Yeah,
For me,
like-
the people I know would even they understood before I spoke.
yeah, exactly. And
They
that's
know
the
me
thing. Your
before I
people
speak.
like know.
They know you.
So probably the reason you're struggling, my friend, is because
That's-
you guys are not friends.
Period.
You don't know each other.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel so.
Yeah, you don't know each other, because knowing each other is actually getting to know Morrine can only take this limit. I know this person, I can only go with them here. We can only go this
Me,
far.
kwanza, I can only go out once in a year.
I
I don't know, but you are right, But
know. You
let's
guys don't know each other. Yeah.
let's talk about, by the way, now I've understood my mom. I've stopped demonizing her. I'm understanding her. I'm at my adult phase. I'm looking at my dad. I'm like, you tried, really. Now, and then I'm looking at my relatives. I'm like, family, right? I'm looking at my family members now with some level of understanding, and I'm like, oh, you really tried. But then it hits me. No, you're actually evil. By the way, I need to let you go completely. Because I feel like the toughest question people ask is, when is the right time to let a family member go? When is the right time to cut ties with your family members?
I'll go back to, we know the truth. The only problem is it takes us a little while to accept the truth. But knowing we know, it just takes us a little bit of time to accept that this person is actually evil, or this person is like this and this person is like this. Let me put it like this, because it's a boundary. Cutting someone off is a boundary. Being able just to say, where I can't have conversation with you again, but let me put it, there's something I want to say. I'm trying to figure out how to structure it in my head. Your family is your family, and there's nothing you can do about it. Your mother is your mother, your father is your father, your lineage, your ancestry is your ancestry. There's nothing you can do about it. Cutting them off is a possibility, but accepting that lineage is important. Accepting. There's a difference between accepting and entertaining. I'm talking about acceptance. Wow. That this is my mother. Because if you do not accept who your mother is and who your father is, it means your ground is already shaken and will continuously be shaken.
Okay, listening.
So it's being able to say, even if I do not honor my parents for anything else, like waliblanda kila kitu ingine, they did one thing right. What is that, Lynn?
They brought me to this world.
Yes.
Did I ask them to?
No, I'm not saying you have to do anything with that information. I'm saying honoring it. Like, even if you didn't do anything else, you gave me life. Because they are a channel. We are people who actually believe fully and completely in incarnations, karma. Alafu unataka kuniambia God made a mistake of all things that you came through those people. Right? You have to honor life, and if you're going to honor life, it has to start with yours. That I am grateful I'm alive. I am grateful I am here. And the only person I can accredit that to, that mtu hakuninyonga. There was a time I was vulnerable. They made sure I didn't die.
Yeah.
Even if probably I'm suspect about why they didn't let me die. Regardless of what I think about. Because life is sacred. We keep saying that all the time. Life is sacred, life is sacred, life is sacred. So that you can release yourself to be able to know, what am I here to do when I'm not busy fighting and looking back and asking why and blaming and crying and waiting for having certain expectations and the likes. How am I able to detach? But first you have to honor and say, I am grateful I came, I saw, I'm gone.
Not I conquered. I came, I saw.
I'm out of here.
I need you to remember one thing. I came, I saw, I left.
I left. Actually, I conquered.
Which conquering? Who's conquering
These places
this?
you can never conquer. You just live. I came, I saw, na hii bash mi nimetoka. But you have to honor. So let me put it like this so that I give it context.
I love you, Morrine. Yes. Go on.
Love you too.
Yeah, go on.
You see, and this is what we don't see about our parents, and we don't honor our journey. And I want us to enter into a place of sacredness where we are looking at your own life as sacred. If you can say, oh, God is amazing, created the sun, he created also you, and he allowed you to have life. Right? So you're here. We are here. We are here. And there are things, Lynn, you're going to do different because of the experiences that you've gone through. Most of the people that we see who tell us, I don't want someone else to go through prison or go through life in a certain ways because they've gone through that experience.
Yes.
When we are not caught up in our pain, we are able to ask, who did my experience? Who is my experience supposed to serve? I am standing here right now.
Yes.
Who am I supposed to open a door for as I open for myself? When I'm parenting my child, when I'm being kind to them, is because I know what unkindness is. I'm not saying didn't experience. I'm just saying, when you're reparenting yourself, when you're walking through a different passage, is your ability to say, in fact, I know the importance of checking up on someone and knowing how my kids are doing because I know the loneliness that comes without being checked up on. Who taught you that? If it's not the people who neglected you, that now you're able to hold space for other people. Life is sacred. When we say life is sacred, we want to just look at it from a place of, they speak in tongues, that, religious aspect of it. But every single day, this conversation is sacred. It's supposed to serve someone. Your gift is serving someone. Every experience that you have has shaped you in a certain way for you to be able to do something better for someone else. So, and that's why I was saying, getting just to see the history behind it, just a little bit, then you're able to see, okay, so probably my dad's whole entire agenda was to make sure that he schools his kids because his father didn't.
Yes.
Has he opened a door for all of you or he didn't?
He did.
He may not have been kind,
But
he may not have been, but he has done, he's brought his small contribution. You might bring many, many contributions. All of us are here and we have soul agreements with the people we came to life with. Because why were you born by Ngugi? Why do you have the siblings you have? Life is sacred like that.
Yeah.
So even when it comes to cutting off certain members of our families, is because we are standing on the truth. I love you,
But I'm Cat Williams on this.
yes. I love you.
Yes.
You're my sister, you're my mother, you're my father. But I forgive you, but I do not want to have a relationship with you. The problem is that we think forgiveness means we have forgotten and we are willing to have a relationship with you can love someone and forgive them completely and fully and still
Keep your distance.
never talk to them for the rest of your life. You remember the gentleman who was here and he said he had forgiven his wife, and you asked him, and he said, that's a boundary, I won't talk to her.
Yes.
And he was pretty clear about it. It's not that I haven't forgiven her.
But it's a boundary.
It's a boundary.
We are never going to speak again.
We are not going to speak again. Because we have to be honest that there are parents who have really taken their kids through hell and fire and everything crazy. And right now they're still wanting to rip down the lives of those children and understanding it's the pain of the parents that's acting out. You know, these parents are caught up in their own pain, in their own shame, in their own guilt, in their own sadness, that mtu akikuona umefurahi, they're just wanting to figure out how they can actually mess that up for you. We know people who are going through such things. And finally being able to say, it's been real, I came, I saw, and I left. Mi nimeenda. I don't want to deal with this.
Because what are we conquering?
We are not conquering
Why
anything.
do we have to always conquer?
There is nothing to conquer. You know, even going home is an accomplishment.
Yes.
If you yezi went home.
And I feel like many people, that's why I said, man, I love you. Many people are still stuck at the conquering stage. My mom does not love me. I have to conquer this until she loves me. No, your mom does not love you. Leave.
And that also, it may not actually be true that she doesn't love you.
Yeah.
It's that she doesn't know how to show you that she loves you. And because you've already established she doesn't know how you would want to be loved by her, it's not going to happen in this lifetime. Why are you torturing yourself? Which means, even if, because God is also a God of surrogates, that he will send you other people who are able to hold your hand, who are able to see you, who are able to understand you, who are able to nurture you. That you're not willing to accept that because you have decided lazima ikuwe Lynn, liwe liwalo. Lazima ikuwe Lynn.
And Lynn is already telling you, I don't know how to love you.
In fact, you're the one who said, I have sat across people, and so many of them who have said this. My parents had no business having children. So Ebu, imagine having an expectation on someone you can actually see had no business having children. It's not someone else coming and saying your parents have had no business having children. It's you saying my parents had no business having children, which means you have seen them, you have experienced them, you know them, you understand them, that they lack the capacity to parent. Not that they are bad human beings, they lack the capacity to parent. For whatever reason, they're caught up in their own drama, they're caught up in their own madness, that they don't have the capacity to parent, and you can tell that. So what's the offering that you can give? And the offering being, can I be, what would I like to do? How do I want to navigate through life moving forward? When I started my parenting journey, I felt very inadequate. And I really loved that child that I didn't want to screw up. I always call him the guy who called me higher. I didn't want to screw that up. And I remember there's this guy I worked with. He was just a spiritual guide that was sent. When I said God sent me help, that's the guy that showed up. And he said, Morrine, what's up? And I said, I don't want to be. And I had a list of all the things that I don't want to be. And he said, and you will be every one of them. I said, what do you mean? And said, because you don't know where you're going. You don't know where you're going. And if there's anything I can teach people, is the intentionality of knowing where you're going. What do you want to do? It's true that you've gone through a lot. What type of a woman do you want to be? What type of a man do you want to be? What type of a parent do you want to be?
What type of you do you want to be?
Who are you? What do you want to be? And that was the greatest assignment. And that has continuously been my greatest assignment to now, that I'm continuously asking, who do I want to be? Who am I being in this moment? What do I need to let go? Where is it that I'm feeling stuck and I feel the sense and the need to blame another? Where? What am I doing?
How do you deal with things like, curses? You can't cut off your mom, you'll be cursed. You can't cut off your father, you will be cursed. You can't cut off your family members, you'll be cursed.
I feel like I need to teach people how to cut people off without necessarily being loud about it. Our problem is we like moving with a decision that is made from a place of conviction is done very well because it's done from a place of love.
Yes.
I am not cutting you off because I don't love you or to teach you a lesson or to, so that I can sit down and say, unajua huyo ilibidi nikam cut off. Hata siongeangi naye, no. It's coming from a place of love. And when what you do is coming from a place of love, it's done very differently from when it's coming from a place of ego. Cutting people off is just choosing not to be available for them.
Stop broadcasting.
Hata wachana na stop broadcast. First of all, why do you feel the need of telling every other person that you cut someone else off?
Ego.
Because that's an ego choice. But cutting, let's just be real. Cutting a family member off is very difficult. And I know when we're talking about family members right now, we're talking about parents. It's very, very difficult.
Even siblings.
And painful. Mostly painful. It's because you've come to the awareness that this relationship will never change. This will be. It comes from a place of absolute pain. I have not met anybody who has decided to cut off their relatives from a place of knowing this is what is best for everybody involved, that it was easy. It's someone who's crying because it's painful.
Yeah.
That's something you do not even have the courage or the grace to go telling people. So one, because it's coming from a place of love, it's one person realizing, regardless of whatever I might do or say, this dynamic is not going to change. So what I'm doing is I'm stop playing. And that's what I mean with I came, I saw, and I left. But remember, at a soul level, you can't live per se. So what you're doing is putting a boundary. So let's look at it in terms of that. It's a boundary.
Yes.
So you will find someone will just withdraw pole to the gathering they used to show up for, they no longer show up for. The places they used to participate necessarily and unnecessarily, they don't do that anymore. And it's because they've realized it's not healthy, one, for them and even for the other people. And just go like, hapana. But it's a very difficult decision.
Yeah.
It's a very, very, Lynn, that's a very difficult decision. Because remember, these are people you love at a core level. These are people who give you identity. These are people you say, these are my people. You had talked about forgiving without being asked for an apology. So even if someone asks for an apology and you're able to forgive, the work still remains. Because remember, when you were doing what you were doing, I still felt, thought, and believed what I believed, what I made up about your decisions.
It's what they say. You have to be okay with an apology that will never come.
Even when it comes, you still have to deal with what the impact of the choices, the actions, the words of another person. It doesn't change that you will still have to process what happened. Ni kama nikikukwaza. I step on you and I probably bruise you. I will say sorry and genuinely you will forgive me because you realize probably it was an accident. But you're still the one who will need the tetanus shots. You're still the one who will need the bandaging. You're still the one who will have to have a strong immune system to heal the wound. That still happens. And I'm talking from a place of, because there are people who say, no, hapana mzazi wetu akisema pole. I'm a child who was apologized to. And that did not take away anything about having to deal with what needed to be dealt with and cleared up. And he apologized with all sincerity. My father just said, you know, I'm sorry. I am very, very sorry. And because we reconnected, he said, I didn't know. I don't know now how to even be a father to you because I was a young adult at the time. And I was like, it's okay. It's years later that I realized I still needed to deal with the impact, not the actions, but the impact of his absence had caused in my life. That I still needed to heal that. I still needed to deal with that. I still needed to actually ask myself, are the stories that I told myself the truth? Because he seemed genuine. He's late now, but he was such an amazing soul that I didn't doubt within me that he loved me. I didn't doubt within me that he was sorry. Even without him saying that he loved me, it's like a part of me already knew that he loved me. What I didn't understand is that how can someone love you and not be a part of your life and not choose to be a part of your life? And even when we would have conversation, I would understand what he's saying, but I still had to deal with my father wound. The stories that I had made up in my head about myself because of his absence.
You had to unlearn so many things.
Yeah, and just getting to understand, what if he just didn't have the capacity to be there for me? He just didn't have the capacity. And he didn't have the capacity. Me, I start making it about myself, my sense of self-worth.
How now?
How now?
How now?
But you see, the mind of a child doesn't know that. But the mind of an adult can and actually now evaluate and ask, by the way, that's not true. You know, and that's what I mean when I'm talking about the action and the result. Like, you have to still deal with the impact of it, because we have gone through things that have made us think and judge ourselves and doubt ourselves, and
we formed versions of ourselves that are not true.
We made other people's actions about us, and we have made conclusions about ourselves because of that. And that's what we need to heal, because then we are looking at it and we are trying to be overachievers, but in actual sense, I'm just trying to prove to daddy something here. I want mommy to see me in a certain way. Why are you not seeing me? Why are you not celebrating me the way you celebrate my brother or my sister? Why are you doing all of that? And you make their actions about you when probably they are even very oblivious of what they are doing.
Where I came,
I saw, I left.
Silently.
I left very silently, because also part of growing up, as I said, is you getting to say, now you know the truth. How do I navigate this relationship? I know the truth now. How do I navigate this relationship?
Yeah.
How do I choose to navigate it?
Yeah. Not now I know the truth. How do I continue being a victim of this circumstance?
And can we learn to respect people's choices?
Yes, please.
That even, like, just respect people's choices the way you'd want, and the way you'd want other people to respect yours. That you have absolutely no business telling people how they should live their lives. You're busy saying, apana, my sister does this. No, 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 no. She should be doing this. I have been talking to my mother and I have been saying this is what she should do. Mothers are in their daughters' and their sons' lives imagining that these are children, they don't know what they are supposed to be doing, and you're in the lives of a 40-year-old person.
Telling them how they should have married.
Telling them how they should have married, telling them how they should parent, telling them how where their kids should go to school. You're busy telling your sisters and your brothers what they should do. Apana. Boundaries also come with personal responsibility, where you're saying, I can respect the other as much as I respect myself. You know the way the scripture says, love your neighbor as you love yourself. It's because it all starts with self. I don't know how to respect you if I don't know how to respect me. I don't know how to love you if I don't know how to love me.
Enye watu waheshimiane. We're in each other's business a lot.
You're angry because your mother got married to I don't know who, and that person ends up being your father. And you're angry. You're literally going like, my mother should not have married that person. Why? You might know the reason, but have you ever asked her why she married that person? Ama you think you can actually now save your mother?
Sure.
Tiapana. Afai kukua ameoa. Afai. In fact, if I could help her move. Why are you just... Why? What's so wrong in your life that you're in someone else's business like this?
True.
Yeah. Why do you have this much time?
Put it on you.
Put it on you and see.
Yourself grow.
Yes.
And blossom.
Yeah.
Morrine, it's been amazing. I don't want to wind up again. Same when I am with you, I always feel like, sana nataka kwenda next. I just feel like I want to go on.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if there's anything we've left out. But I don't think there's anything we've left out. So we've tackled the emotional needs that we have, right? As much as you're cutting down your family, you have to honor that's your family. You have to get to a place where you're accepting, this is my family. As messed up as it can be.
This is my lineage.
Make peace with your make peace with your story. Make peace with where you come from. Make peace. Just peace. You know the way you're like, you can look at something and say, we yenyewe na ilikuwa hard. Lakini ni yangu. So what am I going to do with it? Just make peace. Make peace with your story. Because I think most of the time, even what you're trying to do when we're trying, the thing that we are trying to achieve when we're doing all of these things, is that we are trying to change the narrative. We're just trying to change the narrative. But you see, life is lived forward. Can I look at it and say, Aki, my family has been like this. How am I going to move forward? Can I stop asking them to be something they cannot be? Yeah. Can I just accept everything is just exactly as it should be? Yeah. It might look really bad, but it's just exactly
as it should.
As it should be.
Have realistic expectations.
And again, we know our parents, we know our brothers, we know our sisters. We know them. Ask yourself, when I'm doing all of these other things, what am I trying to achieve? What am I trying to achieve other than to change the reality?
Yeah.
Yeah, and what you don't accept, you accelerate towards. So see what the truth is, that this is the truth. Then ask yourself, where do I want to go? If you know the what, the how will show up.
If you know the what, the how will show up.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Look at the situation. Do I want to move towards it or away from it? Realistic expectations. Tuache kuishi kwa soap opera.
Wache. Mi nakwambia shida mob. And but then the most issues that people have and we have is that continuously we are having delulu relationships in our heads. There's a fantasy story going on in our heads. What it should be, what it can be, how it should be, that is running in our heads, that we are so disconnected with the reality. So now we start fighting reality. But unajua watu wanafanya, na unajua kwenyu wamfanyangi hivyo.
Yeah. Unajua mamangu you know. No.
Just forget the fantasy relationship and have the true relationship that you have. And that's even in romantic relationships. This is the relationship you have. Yes. Forget about what it could be, should be, can be, was, whatever. Forget about where you're, that it's pulling you so much that you're behaving. Yeah. You're behaving like the relationship you have in your head, opposed to the relationship you have in real life. That is right in
front of you.
Deal with the parent that you have, not the parent you wish you had. Deal with the parent you have, not the one you wish you had.
Period.
Love it.
Deal with the parent you have, guys. Stop saying your father is Denzel. No. Look at it straight in the face. And
you see, you cannot change something you're not willing to look at and accept the reality of it.
Yes.
You see, nyumba ndio ibomoke. It's because someone has been seeing a crack and just saying, I think in here, hii hata nisimiti tu nikae separate. You know, you're making things that are not there.
Yeah.
Being able just to say, this is a situation at hand. What do we need to do? Do we need to, and I love your new set, by the way.
You know what was in my mind? I'm already able to maliza show. Thank you, everyone. I was actually looking at it and I'm like, I love it.
Yeah.
Like I'm dealing with something I love.
And it's right in front of your eyes. Because and this is, I know it looks like it's so far-fetched, but try, alafu mkam niambie. Start seeing the people in your life for who they are and accepting them for who they are. You will be very surprised by how you will get to actually see other parts of them that you didn't even know existed. Because you have forgotten about the delusion you have.
Yeah.
And now you're dealing with uyu mtu niko na yeye ndi uyu. And now you're able to ask yourself, because I am dealing with this person, how do I want to deal with them? How many times have you spoken to people who have stayed in relationships for a very long time that was not good? And they said, and they would say something like, I thought they would change. You know, I saw potential. Huyo ni mtu alikuwa na relationship na mtu mwingine tofauti kabisa.
Yes.
With the one they had.
Yeah.
Because they were living with someone in their head. It's the hope they had. It's the desire they had. It's the ambition they had. So even with our parents, we are like that. You know, kabisa, someone is having a very difficult relationship with their parent. Watch one bonge la post Facebook about the same parent.
Dear dad, dear mom,
you've been the most nini na huyo mtu hongeangi na baba yake.
Hata they can't remember the last time. But since it's Father's Day or Mother's Day, we gonna post something. And the world needs to see us posting something.
But what happens when you can't sit in your own pain?
Yeah.
It never gets resolved.
It never gets resolved.
There's a client who asked me, I'm feeling, give me tools to handle the way that I feel. And I said, feelings are not handled. Feelings are felt.
Feel them.
Feel them.
You know, like the way, what's her name? I love her. Najwa Zaiban said, you have to be able to invite your demons into your room.
Yes.
Serve them coffee. Sit down with them like this and ask them, what do you want?
I look at human beings like this. That you're like a whole house, a whole mansion with so many rooms. Be willing to enter every room. Usiishingi tu sitting room.
Yep.
No, ukifanya tu landscaping huku nje. Go inside. Go into your shame room. Go into your guilt room. Go visit your perfectionist room so that it tells you exactly why we are even being busy being perfecting everything. Sit with your shame. Sit with your guilt. You have done so much that probably you're not proud of, and you don't even want to admit that to yourself. Is it even fair? The first healthy relationship you can have is with you. Just you. Where you're continuously asking. And remember, healing comes in layers. So don't try to do everything at once. The layer that is willing to be healed is the layer that reveals itself. It shows up itself. So that you're able to heal it, and then it invites you to the next one, to the next one, to the next one. Ndio sababu, this is a journey, not a thing that you go for therapy for a few sessions and you move on.
Yeah.
It's a journey, because at some point you will be done with it. Looking at this thing, you know your demons by name.
Yes, you can call them by name.
You know who shows up when you're angry. You know who shows up when your insecurities are uko juu. You know all of that. But now you're also trying to say, if we all collaborate, I know what I did. But did you also see that I achieved this? And we are good together. What can we do? Then we get into the space of self-discovery.
Yes.
What more can we do? Because it's owning all your story. All of it.
Not
the
parts
good
of.
And the bad. We are not saying you can't tell us. All we are saying is own it.
No, I hear you.
Yeah. Own it. Own it.
And half of knowing who you are is knowing who you're not.
Who you're not.
Who you're not. Yeah.
So, and that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
You
by
know,
knowing who you are.
I'm not this, I'm not this.
I am this.
So what are you?
Yeah.
I don't want this, I don't want this. So what do you want?
Yeah. I feel like we can pick it from there. The journey towards self-discovery. And what do we do when we discover? Because again, I love what you've said. It's not easy. It's not a one-day thing. And you know, I've also seen instances where you even go for therapy, and because you've gone for day 1 or day 2, you feel like you can conquer the whole world, you know, like those few steps towards self-discovery. And also, what do you do if the person you meet on the other side is not the desirable person that you intended to meet? What do you do with your flaws? Like, how do you move on after? Because at the end of the day, when we are done blaming our parents, when we are done being the victims, I'm just saying it in context. At the end of the day, when you are done being all that, you know, there's an emptiness somewhere. There's a gap. How do we feel? How do we exist? The truest version of ourselves, right? I want to wind up. It's been amazing. I love your tattoo.
Thank you.
What's that? Am I allowed to ask?
Yeah.
What does that represent?
This.
Yes.
This is faith.
It's, oh, that's
It's the word faith.
It's the word faith.
Yeah.
Oh, with 2 arrows.
Yes, we're moving just forward.
We are moving. Oh, yeah, all the arrows are pointed actually forward.
Yeah.
I love that. And this one?
This one is the tree of life.
Yes.
And the other one is the moon. So I think one of my greatest inspirations is nature. If I'm able, I love the perfection of it.
Yeah.
The way it just comes up in seasons.
Yeah.
Just to remember to continue growing and to continue embracing every season. Yeah.
And life is all about seasons. Miss Ina, maybe you're inspiring me to put some.
Kwambia imekuwa ikiniita lately.
But allow me to wind up. As always, it's been amazing having you here on the show. And I'm pretty sure we've learned. For me, I always say if one person gets impacted by this conversation, then I believe our job here is done. But I know there are also people who would love to get hold of you, get in touch with you. Watu wasibaki wakisema, Lynn, hata hukutupatia contact details za Morrine. So are you comfortable giving an email, social handles, or if people were to just connect with you, how best can they do that?
I'm a bit embarrassed to say I keep forgetting my number. Akina nilikuwa nimekram.
Niwasome? Okay. Nisome ile ya
0738.
Okay.
57 47 84.
Ebu goja. Let's see if you can get it.
57
Anza yote
0738 57 47 84.
Ah, you're good.
Good.
Yeah. Nah, that's good. I think nimefungua simu nikaona message ya M-Pesa. Oh my God. But anyways, thank you so much. It's been amazing. And I just want people to be able to connect with you. The phone number is there. I'll put the social handles.
The social handle. So everywhere it's Morrine Miney. Email address is Coach Miney.
Yes.
So let's connect on social media. I will be teaching a class.
Okay. For real?
Yeah.
What are we expecting?
A parents class, a master class on parenting, a master class on relationships, and I want to run a program on reprogramming yourself.
Hey, okay, Morrine, go you. Jana had a conversation on parenting. I can't wait for you to watch it and tell me which part you are coming to help us with. That one was something else, but I can't. I'll send you the link and you can tell me what you think, because I am also yesterday it got us thinking like parenting is not just parenting. It's a lot, and I can't honestly wait for you to watch and see how you can help us. But guys, you know me and Morrine can talk until tomorrow, so you're free to go. You guys, you're free to go. We've come to the end of today's episode, but I always say, for me, it's really important you tell me on the comment section, what is it that you've been able to pick? What would you want Morrine to come and talk to us about? If you want to join her masterclass, her contact details are here on the screen. I encourage you to do it because I really do vouch for her. You guys, you've not met her off camera even. She's such beautiful energy. So if you're able to attend the masterclass, this is not an ad. Please do if you are able to. But other than that, I hope we've learned. Leave me that feedback on the comment section. It's really important. And if it's something that you can't publicly state on the comments, you know where to find me, info@lnn.digital. I'll always be there to attend to your questions, or if you want to brainstorm on something, or if you're seeking clarification on something, you guys feel free to get hold of me through info@lnn.digital. Really happy being here today and hosting this show. Continue subscribing because yeah, I'm so excited for that one. You can't talala hiyo siku, guys, but yeah, it means a lot. It means a lot to us if you guys could subscribe if you haven't. See you hopefully tomorrow at 10 a.m. Bye-bye. I came, I saw, I left.